Thank you guys for waiting so long. I know Ted usually came down quicker than that, but we had some UGFA signings we were trying to work through. So with that, I want to just kind of take, I did this the other night, but thank all of our scouts, personnel guys, coaches. The entire operation was really smooth. Was really proud of how everybody worked, communicated. Still going through some things up there with the UDFAs, but it's we had a really good weekend, a really good day, and we think we helped the Packers. So with that, we'll take some questions. Okay.
What went into the decision to bypass pass rush until the last pick of the draft?
You know, I think I wouldn't use the term bypass. We tried to let the board come to us like we always do. If it's not there, it's not there. And the value of the players that we picked were just, higher value players than the pass rushers that were on the board.
What's kind of your bird's eye view now that you got all the picks there?
Mm-hmm.
Really heavy at receiver, heavy at corner, unusual with two specialists.
Mm-hmm.
No, like Bill said, no pass rusher, no right tackle. What's your bird's eye view of what you've done?
Yeah, I think what we tried to do is we tried to look at the board and take the best, available player. And then again, if there was equal footing with that and there was a need there, then obviously that weighed in. As far as the right tackle stuff, Cole Madison can play some guard and tackle, so that's part of that as well. I think I was a little surprised that the receivers felt like they did, but we just thought the value there was too good to pass up. But overall, I just think that we had a chance to add some really quality football players each and every time we picked, and was glad to do so. The special teams emphasis, I think, was something that I wanted to make sure that we put a stamp on, and I thought we did.
Could Cole Madison be a starting right tackle in this league? I don't know much about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's versatile enough. He's played tackle in college this past season, but we see him as a versatile inside guard, tackle, swing type of guy.
Brian, Mike just told us that the reports he's getting are that Balaga is ahead of schedule, but still doesn't know. With an ACL, you just don't know if he's going to be ready week one. Do you see him on your roster though? I mean, do you envision him whenever he's ready actually being on the roster?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. And I've heard the same reports that he's doing excellent. He's way ahead of schedule. Again, those are big injuries. He's fought through those things before. We expect to do him again, him to do that again. But yeah, we expect him to be part of our team.
Brian, how do you see outside linebacker and the whole edge rusher position moving forward here?
Well, I think it's something you always try to address. Roster building is a 365-day a year job, so that will be something we'll continue to focus on. We would have loved to have some guys fall to us in a different manner. I don't think it was a particularly great edge rusher draft. It just didn't happen that way, and we just didn't think we didn't think it was the best thing just to go ahead and reach for a position, even if we didn't think that player was of that value. And so that's kind of how we approached it.
Brian, last year running backs was a really heavy class. This year it appears like wide receiver was a heavy class. Is your draft a reflection of that?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had a good board with wide receivers this year, and some guys lasted up there a lot longer than we thought. And we thought the ability to add some size and speed to our group was something we wanted to do, and I think we did that.
Right, you mentioned the special teams emphasis. You have a punter where he was picked and a long snapper picked it off. How much value did you have to see in those guys at those positions in particular to go that early?
We saw a lot of value. And both players have performed extremely well at a high level in college football, and we just thought it was a chance to provide a lot of competition in that area.
What area, when it comes to punting, would you like to see improved just in general next season? What would you like to see improved?
Oh, I don't think there's anything specifically like we'd like to see improve. I think you're always trying to upgrade your special teams, and in this particular case, we just had a player that we thought was rare, and we decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. So.
Brian, as a first-year GM, I'm assuming everybody wants you to address this year and get everything moving this year, but you were able to address next year a little bit too. And then, do you feel like you set a foundation for what comes in the next year or the year after that a little bit with the guys you took?
Yeah, I think to be fair, Ted Thompson's done an excellent job of setting the foundation here for a long time, and we were trying to build on our team, create competition at every spot that we could. We felt really good about our board and knowing it, and knowing where the value was. We had some unexpected players fall our way that we just were like, it maybe didn't make sense from the numbers perspective, but, you know, they were good football players that we wanted to acquire, so, and that's what we did. But, yeah, there's been a foundation set here for a long time, and I think it's just about continuing to build upon that.
Brian, now that you've been through this process with your staff as it is now, do you have a better idea of, you know, where everyone's gonna fall in terms of titles and that, and do you anticipate adding or losing anybody after this?
You know, I'll kind of address that in the coming weeks, kind of trying to get through this weekend in the draft, and the guys did a stellar job throughout the entire process. But yeah, we lost a couple, so we're a couple bodies short, and we'll probably, as we move forward, add a couple.
So Brian, you didn't reach for a edge rusher because you didn't see value in free agency. You didn't go out and overpay a corner that you didn't like that much because you liked Fuller and you gave that a shot. If it's 365 days to fill a roster, where are the places where you haven't created as much competition as you'd like? And what can you still do to create that beyond undrafted free agents?
Sure. I think, it's kind of one of those things that's always evolving. There'll be instances, and I don't want to get into positions too much because I like our team, I like where our team's at. But at the same time, I think there's going to be opportunities over the next, going into training camp, the 53 cut, all those things, trades, different things. There'll be opportunities if we feel we need to add more competition to any position group. I think this weekend was a really good step in a lot of ways. There's some guys up there trying to knock a couple things out to continue that. This is it'd be nice to come out of every draft and feel like you filled all the holes that you think you have, but that's never the case. So I think you try to take the really good football players because you really don't know what your needs are going to be come September. And I think we did that. Like we stayed disciplined to the process and not tried to get out of that. And we feel really, really good right now. Hopefully moving forward there'll be other opportunities. And we'll see where that takes us.
What's the toughest part of the weekend in making those decisions? Thursday night with the first round? Is it when the clock is going kind of fast on Saturday? How does that go for you?
I think the hardest part probably is as you get down the draft, the players become more equal. And up at the top, I think you have you have more complete players, and down at the bottom, you're maybe looking for this guy's really good at this, but he's not so good at that. So I think those decisions, as you come down on Saturday, are more of the decisions that are maybe a little more difficult. And certainly today you have such a volume of stuff you're doing. Not only did we have a lot of picks today, but then it's UDFAs and then rookie mini camps. So there's a lot of volume there. But it was. I'll be honest. It was a lot of fun. I had a great experience for the first time in that chair. And I thought that working with the guys, it was really enjoyable the entire weekend.
Coach McCarthy sort of joked that you need to improve your calls and your handoff to the head coach. What was that experience like, kind of as a rookie yourself?
Well, we had so many picks, I felt like I had to get off the phone and get back into the chair because we were doing, there were so many calls and doing different things. But it's I moved pretty fast, so I think he was always getting the handoff a little quicker than he usually got it. So.
Were you expecting to execute all your picks today, coming into, knowing you had 8? I think a lot of people were expecting a few more trades.
Yeah.
You stuck with your board and did all the picks.
Yeah, no. We a lot of conversations, not a lot of value in the calls we were getting today. But I didn't really have an expectation. I knew we were going to try to, maybe move up a couple of times, maybe move back a couple of times if anything of value, like a next year pick came around. But just the things that did materialize didn't appeal to me as much as sticking around and picking.
Brian, I don't know if this was connected or not, but a year ago you obviously take 3 running backs, take 3 today, you take 3 receivers. Is there anything you learned about just the opportunity to add instant depth from last year that made you want to do the same with receivers?
I don't know. Last year I thought those 3 picks, we liked those 3 picks, and then we liked what they did for us. I didn't really think about that as we went through. It wasn't something I targeted, like I want to get 3 receivers to add that depth. I think it was just a case-by-case basis as we looked up at the board. We say, okay, what are the options now? As our pick came, we're like, okay, then that was the best option. So it wasn't something we targeted. We didn't do that last year either. It was just kind of something that kind of fell to us that way.
Of those receivers, they're all big guys, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Was that the plan? Was the focus on bigger guys, or again, or is it just kind of the way that it worked out, as Ted might say?
I think that's kind of the way it worked out. That's obviously appealing. You know, the size speed aspect of it is obviously appealing, but that wasn't something we went in and focused on.
Ryan, you know, you've been a part of a lot of drafts. I don't remember one time where Ron or Ted came down and said, you know what, we didn't get the guys we really wanted, some of these guys. I'm not saying that happened today by any means, but what I'm wondering is, were there drafts where you guys kind of knew afterward, you know, this did not go according to plan? You're not going to tell us that then. But do you remember some drafts where, you know, the board just didn't, somebody came up and took the guy you liked here and here? I mean,
Oh, sure, that always happens. I think there's times in different drafts where it falls differently for you. Sometimes it falls a little bit more in your favor, sometimes it doesn't fall in your favor. A lot of that's where you're picking. If you're picking high in a lot of rounds, then it usually falls a little bit better than if you're picking lower. So I think that happens in every draft. But at the same time, I think if you're prepared and you do the work, you know the options that are available to you, and you pick the best player you can. You can't control how it falls, you know, and you can't always predict it. I think at the top you can predict a little bit, but after that it's pretty much it's all over the place at times. So, yeah, we felt really good about how it fell this weekend. There were certainly players up there we were hoping would get to our spot that didn't. That always happens for every team. But the guys that we did have the opportunity to pick, we were excited to do so.
Right. Other than being picked in the first or second round, are there indicators to you about who can contribute right away? When you look at your draft, do you have an idea of that?
Yeah, I think there's guys on our, you know, that would just knowing their skill sets and the preparation that they've had in college, you feel like they may have a better opportunity than some others. But again, I think the thing that we've always tried to do here is that, you know, when they get here, it doesn't matter where they got picked. It doesn't matter where they're from. Everybody's going to get the kind of same opportunity. And, you know, I think we've shown that through the history of, you know, this organization since Ted's kind of come back. It's just, you know, there's been undrafted free agents that have beat out draft picks and low draft picks that have beat out high draft picks and made the team. So, you know, but I think in the back of your mind, certainly there's some guys that have maybe come from some places or where their experience in the past makes you feel like they're going to have a quicker impact.
With St. Brown, his dad's obviously a very high-profile person. There's been some comparisons to the Balls, rightly or wrongly. Did you have to do any legwork into that just to see if you're drafting a family and not just a player there?
You know, our guys do a ton of background work on all these guys, and so we go through the character parts of it and everything that the player coming to our organization means. We had no reservations about bringing Equanimous St. Brown to our team. We pretty excited about that size and speed.
Ryan, when we talked in Florida, one of the things you said was you weren't going to do something to make a splash. That's not your personality. But you've talked about preparation a bunch of times, starting with like last Monday when we talked to you. Did you go into this as your first draft in charge saying the one thing we will not be is underprepared, and how much of that is either your personality or what you believe is the absolute most important thing to success?
Yeah. Yes. I think you know, I think when you have the draft and the way it kind of is set up and how things unfold, it's not something you can catch up on, you know. There's probably a little bit more opportunity now in the 3 days, but it's, you know, if you haven't done the work and you haven't been prepared and you don't know those players up there as it falls, it can be very difficult, you know. So that was kind of my job. What my job has been over the past, you know, 6 years is to know that entire board inside and out and to answer any questions Ted had on any of those players. And, you know, I think that's the key to the entire thing. And I think, you know, I felt really prepared through the whole thing. I felt our guys were really prepared. I think it's always an indicator when we get to the UDFA stuff, when we go through all those names, how prepared we are. Because if we know exactly the order we want to go in, then you know we know the board inside and out. And I thought that's exactly what happened.
Ryan, you talked a lot about possibly leading on Ted through this process, your first draft. Did that materialize?
Yeah.
How much did you lean on that?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, he was there. There was a lot of, probably more today than the first 2 days. And I think a lot of that had to do with there was just more, quite frankly, more decisions to be made with where there was equal footing of players, equal value of players. So yeah, just you know, certainly with the special teams aspect of the guys we drafted, talked to him about that and what he had done in Seattle and you know, kind of his philosophy on that a little bit. So, but there was numerous conversations with him about players, and then just kind of, you know, some of the things he's done in the past.
In late January, when you get into this period of player acquisition, is there any way that you can roadmap what needs you need to address with your team and where you are now after this weekend of the draft?
Yeah.
Can you come close to it?
You certainly roadmap it, but you certainly kind of have an idea of where you think you need to add players and you're in each group and to be successful. And I think you go about that, pretty diligently throughout. And this won't stop this weekend. I mean, we'll continue to do that, throughout training camp through the season. So you kind of always know where you're at and what you're trying to do. This is obviously one of the bigger opportunities to fill some of those avenues, those needs. And I think we did a good job of it. I think you got to stay really, really disciplined not to get out of your comfort zone and go get a player that isn't what you think he is because you feel you need to plug that hole. You know what I mean? So I think you need to stay disciplined there because that's where you can make mistakes because those things can come back to really hurt you if you make the wrong decision.
I know you said that there'll be opportunities to add competition later on down the line if needed, but more from a depth standpoint of competition, is 3 tight ends a good number to have? Do you need just from numbers because of depth? Do you need more than 3 on your roster, or do you enjoy keeping 3?
Yeah, I think you'd like to have more than 3, but at the same time, it's about quality, and we got some guys that are going to be coming in that you guys will, I'm sure find out about soon here that we think will provide some of that competition. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's an ideal number, but you see teams usually keep anywhere between 3 and 5.
Brian, is day 3 of the draft really, have you always looked at it as maybe the scouts' day? This is where organizations set themselves apart from each other? Could you
Sure.
explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, day 3, if you can find quality role players or starters on day 3, I think that's where you create an advantage and an edge over other teams in this league. I think that those are the hard things to do, but I think scouts have always felt as the further you get down the board, they're the ones that know those players better than anyone.
What does it tell you about Ted that he could sit in the chair for 13 years and be the guy who's in charge, and then sit there and be in a complimentary role and be there to help you? Like, I would think for some of us anyway, that would be a really hard thing to do. I don't get the impression that it was as hard as maybe it would be for us.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the person Ted Thompson is, and that as he's kind of transitioned, I don't think anybody that knows him ever thought that this would be, something that he wouldn't want to do or couldn't do because of just how much he cares about the people in that room. He cares so much about the scouts. He's meant so much to me personally as a friend and a mentor. He's always led, he kind of service leadership. That was kind of his motto. I mean, that's kind of how he led us. And I hope he sticks around for a long time.
Ryan, the number 1 question I got all last night and all today, what is the beer in your garage fridge?
Spotted cow. What else would there be? And a couple canoe paddles from Line and Kugel's. Yeah, John Eric Sullivan turned me on to that one. So.